it's been a little more than half a year since the Draft Bernie organization formed, and Bernie Sanders has not yet decided to lead a new People's Party. So Nick Brana, the founder of Draft Bernie, along with a few other progressive organizers, are now ramping up their campaign to draft Bernie. And I think this is really exciting. So we have Jimmy Dore, Tim Black, Nick Brana, and some other people hand-delivering Bernie Sanders a petition with 50,000 progressive and independent signatures urging him to lead a new People's Party. So Michael Sonato of Observer reports, even though Senator Bernie Sanders has embraced his role of outreach chair for the Democratic Party since the 2016 election, many of his supporters have joined a movement to draft him to lead a new political party, led by Sanders' former national political director Nick Brana, who experienced how entrenched the Democratic Party is in corporate money and influence while lobbying superdelegates as part of Sanders' campaign, developed an organization called Draft Bernie in February 2017. Since the organization's founding, Brana has organized volunteers and staff across the country to gather signatures for a petition to give to Bernie Sanders that insists he starts a new party. On the weekend of September 8th, the Draft Bernie organization is hosting a People's Convergence conference in Washington, D.C., where they plan to deliver their petition of 50,000 signatures to Sanders' Senate office, asking him to participate in a town hall focusing on why we should start a new political party. Draft Bernie founder Nick Brana told The Observer, "We'll have the signatures printed and in open top boxes. I've sent the senator a personal message encouraging him to be there to receive the signatures. The signatures represent tens of thousands of invitations to Bernie to attend the town hall the next day with Dr. Cornel West, Kshama Sawant, Jimmy Dore, and me." Brana continued, "The signatures are people of all colors, genders, and ages who donated countless hours and gave funds they often could not spare to Bernie's presidential campaign. Now they are united once more in their conviction that we need a People's Party free from corporate and billionaire money. In exchange for all their sacrifice, all they ask of Bernie is that he give them 90 minutes of his time for a conversation about our shared future as a movement and a country. Bernie doesn't have to make any commitments. He just has to come sit down with his hardworking supporters who would like to speak to him." Brana added, "A large majority of Americans support progressive policies like Medicare for all, free public college, and getting money out of politics, but neither major party represents the people on these issues. That's why, over the past decades, tens of millions of Americans have left both establishment parties and become independents. Now, there's an ocean of independents far larger than either major party. The question is whether we can unite the Democratic base with the enormous number of independents to form a winning electoral coalition. Bernie has spent the last year trying to unite them inside the Democratic Party with little success. First, Trump beat Hillary, and now Democratic Party affiliation has declined since the general election. The American people are leading the way to an independent alternative. Rather than struggling against the progressive current, we should swim with it and create the major new party that the majority of Americans are calling for. The place to unite Democrats and independents is in a new People's Party." Now, understandably so, there's skepticism about whether or not a new party, specifically a People's Party, could ever be politically and electorally viable. And when I spoke with Nick Brana, the founder of Draft Bernie, I'll link to that interview down below, what little doubts I had were completely rest assured. I mean, I think he did an excellent job at making the case. I mean, this isn't just some half-baked idea. This is a real attempt to launch a brand new political party, and it's rooted in a historical understanding of the factors that are actually needed to form a new party in a two-party system. And a lot of the frustration that we saw before the Republican Party replaced the Whigs is also present right now. So we have a unique opportunity in history to really capitalize on the frustration with both parties and try to form a People's Party that wouldn't necessarily compete alongside the Republican and Democratic parties, but would replace the Democratic Party, or ideally even the Republican Party, and have the Democrats just become the new de facto conservative party since they're already there. So I absolutely am in support of this idea, and I think that we've got to give it a try. At this point, we have to try everything. But of course, as usual, there are some people, including progressives, that are already poo-pooing on this event. And, they don't like the idea of drafting Bernie because Bernie Sanders, of course, has made political miscalculations. He went on the DNC Unity Tour, he endorsed Hillary Clinton, he drones on about Russia. But even though the name is Draft Bernie, this organization is about policy ideas, which is why it's called the People's Party. We're not trying to draft Bernie Sanders to get him to form the Bernie Sanders Party. We're trying to draft him to form the People's Party. And since he still champions a lot of the ideas, irrespective of the political miscalculations he's made, I think that we need to do that. He's talking about things that are important. Medicare for all, $15 minimum wage, tuition-free public colleges and universities. So here's what I have to say to those people, because my patience is, it's running out. How about this? Why don't you propose some type of alternative to actually make progress and affect change and get the policies that we all want codified into law? But until then, if you have nothing to add to the conversation, if all you can do is criticize those of us who are fighting to affect change, even if you disagree with our strategy, propose something yourself. Otherwise, stop complaining because you're demoralizing the progressive movement, because we're fighting for policies, we're trying to be proactive, and we don't need negativity, we don't need you shitting all over everything that we're trying to accomplish here. And I think we absolutely should support the efforts of Nick Brana, Jimmy Dore, and Tim Black, because they're doing everything they can. So I hate the negativity. It's self-defeating. It's just so frustrating, and it's bad for the movement. So I love this, not to rant, but I love what they're doing. I think this is a great idea, and I would love to have Bernie Sanders attend this town hall. I think it'd be great.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.